How you doing, Coach? Good morning. Good morning. Morning, everyone. How you doing, Coach? Good morning, everyone. Heather, how are you this morning? We got Doug. We've got Kim. Pitt Miller, what's happening?
1.065.
Good morning, Tobias.
At under $1 million, but just under.
Yeah, it's under. Okay, mute yourself. We got under $1 million. $1 million deals going on. Mute yourself. You guys know the housekeeping rules. Number one, turn on your video so we can see your moneymaker. And then number two, mute yourself. And then show up, be ready to rock and roll and get some great energy and some great information today. Coach Michael Byrd, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm sure everyone on this call knows Coach Michael Byrd, but there might be one of you that don't know him. So for the one person that doesn't know Coach, he's America's coach. He's my coach. And I'm going to turn it over to him to share a little bit about himself and then our content, which is appropriate for this market right now and this time of year, and how to fight through obstacles and to keep moving forward. Coach, turn it over to you.
Well, good morning, everybody. And I'm here in Tennessee. It's a pretty day today. I don't know what it's like in California, but I'm sure it's nice out there. It's been a minute since I've been to California, but I love it. And what we're going to talk about this morning is probability. And as many of you know, I was a basketball coach. And what I did as a basketball coach is I played the percentages. And after about 5 or 6 years, I figured out if I did 4 or 5 things, we won about 75 to 90% of our games. If we just did 4 or 5 things, and those 4 or 5 things for us was to limit the number of turnovers we had to 14 or less. It was to only give up 7 or 8 second shots in a game, and it was to stop the other team 21 times in consecutive stops of 3 consecutive stops. And what that did is that killed their momentum. Okay, so I didn't care if the other team scored every 4th possession, as long as I stopped them 3 consecutive possessions, because they never could build any momentum. So I really reverse engineered it, and every practice we focused on those things. So I would actually make the team stop the offensive team 5 consecutive times before they got to play offense. So we did a drill where we stopped, we'd come down, we play defense. We had to stop them 5 consecutive times before we got to play offense. And what I was doing was I was training them that when we got in the game, I would say, we got to get 3 stops. We got to get 3 stops. We got to get 3 stops, right? And that's how we won that many games. Well, when I started my business career, I started to think about probability. And you can drive up the probability of making a sale by taking action. And the more action you take, the more probability you have of actually creating a sale. Or you could drive down the probability of making a sale by the least amount of action that you take. Okay. Now, what we're going to talk about today is what I'm seeing as a business coach to a lot of people. Psychologists tell us that under pressure, I got a whole new book coming out on this called Flip the Switch in January. Under extreme pressure, people do 3 things. They fight, so they come out swinging. Okay. How many of you, that's your standard MO? Like when things are not going the way you want them to, you come out swinging. Okay. That's my standard MO. Okay. The second thing they do is they flee, or let's call that contract. This is what a lot of people do under pressure. They just contract to a place of comfort. Okay. They go to a place of comfort, or they're actually telling us now there's a third mode of operation, and that is to freeze, which is what lots of real estate agents are doing and lots of mortgage people are doing. They're just not doing anything. They're just freezing. And it's like, well, nobody's buying a house a few days before Christmas. Although I'm selling coaching packages every day, they're saying, well, nobody buys a house between December 15th and January 15th. So they literally just freeze. They don't do anything. Now, as a coach, let me just ask this question. When I was a basketball coach, do you think that would be a way to win? We just don't do anything. We just say, well, not really a chance of us winning. So why even come in and practice? Why even take any shots? Why even do this? So because of this game of how I see sales, it really does come down to how do I scratch and claw to get to my number? Okay. And my number is 25,000 a day in sales. And so I wake up every day and I go, how do I get to 25,000 in sales? Could I sell one person at 25,000? Could I sell 10 people at 2,500? Could I sell 5 people at 5,000? And then it's literally a game of banging on, following up with, engaging with, and just fighting until at the end of every day at 5 o'clock, we turn in our sales as a company. And yesterday I think we had about 30,000 in sales yesterday. So if I get to 25,000 a day and I do that 5 days a week, I've hit 125,000 for the week. I've hit 500,000 for the month. I've hit 6 million in a year. And if my profit margins are 41%, Tom, then Coach Byrd's making about $2.1, $2.2 million. Okay. Now this is a game of probability. So I look at that as, look, it ain't got to be pretty. It ain't got to be sexy. It ain't got to be fun. Sometimes we got to just keep going until we figure out how to get there. And then we listen to the market and we go, okay, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. But what we do is we just keep doing it. We just keep fighting. Now, let me go back to those coaching days, Tom, because when we weren't very good, and I had a few teams that weren't very good from a talent perspective, or we were playing people who were really good, that would be an external competitor, we actually practiced more. We didn't just go 2 hours and say, let's take it to the house. We'd say, you know what, we need to come in early. We need to stay late. This is what's going on really in the business world right now, in the real estate world. It's like, man, what do I need to do? I need to make a few more calls. I need to follow up. I need to engage. I need to keep, right? As it says on Finding Dory, just keep swimming. That's what I need to do. I need to keep swimming. Okay. And I need to do it every single day. So when you think about you, I want you to ask you, under extreme pressure, how do you handle that pressure? Is pressure a privilege because it separates out the pretenders from the contenders? Is pressure something that you don't like? Or is it just, does it activate your prey drive and creativity to really come out and do more things? So let's step back and let's ask, what could we be doing? Okay. So I'm just going to show you how I map out a day and I come into the day. I typically have 5 to 10 people on what I call my hit list for the day. And my hit list represents people I can help or they can help me. I can help them or they can help me. Meaning I'm trying to get to 25,000. Can they help me get to 25,000? Or can I help them? And I start with my hit list. And what I do with those people is I initiate. I just initiate, man. I got an idea. I got a concept. And I initiate that concept to them. Right? Like as I'm talking to you, I'm watching my sales team initiate conversations with people. Good morning, Clinton. It's Eric from Coach Byrd's team. We're working on Coach's schedule. Want to discuss a date for a speaking engagement. See, that's initiating. That's initiating. That's a hit list. It's a hit list text message right there. Okay. So I come into the day and I go, who's on my hit list today? I got 5 to 10 every day. Then I say, who's in my farm club? Who are people that we are nurturing, that we need to continue to nurture because they have indicated interest? In your world, they've indicated in buying or selling a house. Now, let's go back to being a real estate agent. If I were a real estate agent today, I could reach out to people and go, what are your real estate goals for 2023? What are you trying to do in 2023? Are you trying to buy? Are you trying to sell? Are you trying to buy more investment properties? See, I had a real estate agent reach out to me not long ago. That was not my agent. And he said that. What are your real estate goals in 2023? What are you trying to do, coach? I sent it to my real estate agent and I said, man, the person who should be doing this should be you. I'm like, you're my real estate agent. He's not my real estate agent. Look at him initiating. I got to give the dude credit for initiating. So I initiate with the hit list. I follow up with the farm club. And I've probably got 5 to 10 people I'm following up with at any time. And then I have my red zone. And the red zone are people who are close to making a buying decision. And what I need to do with those people is I need to find their fear and give them courage. I need to find their fear and I need to give them courage. And for some of them, it's like, hey, we're ready to go. Let's put the dates on the calendar. Let's get you started. Let's get you rolling. For you, it's like, hey, let's drop the contract. I find what's holding them up, typically a fear, and I give them courage. I encourage them, which means to give courage. Okay. I give them courage. I'm initiating. Okay. That's my red zone. Now, the other thing I'm doing is I'm engaging with my top 25. So I've got a guy in Michigan that I coach, and I've been trying to get him to do an event over the last week. And I've literally texted him every day. Man, I got this date available in February. I got February 17th available. Man, you want to do an event in Michigan? Now, let me tell you why it's a high value activity. If I go to Michigan, A, I'm putting pressure on him to make a decision. And the word decide means to kill something off. But B, I'm going to go to Michigan and get in front of new people. And you don't need more money. You need more people. And I know if I get in front of people, I'm going to generate money. Okay. So I'm loving on my top clients. I'm engaging with them. I'm adding value to them. That's prompting them to think about me. That's prompting them to introduce me to people, which will eventually lead to monetization. Does everybody see that? Okay. Enough action eventually leads to monetization, guys. Okay. And so Tom introduced me to a guy named Matt Wagner. And I had a great conversation with Matt Wagner. And that's going to put me, Tom, in front of what? About 150 legitimate real estate agents, right? It's me and Tom Ferry. And I'm up for a good fight with Tom Ferry. So I like Tom, but I want to get in a room with 150 people and let's see who's better, me or him. Now I'm just a little friendly competitor there. I'm not being serious, but it's Tom in the morning and Coach Byrd in the afternoon, and we'll let the 150 people decide which one they like the most. So that would be Tom. What? That would be a connector. Tom connected me to Matt Wagner. Matt Wagner's going to put me in front of 150 people here in Nashville. It's 150 people that are spending significant money on radio. So they're legit people. And now I got to believe that out of that group, 16% of those people could hire me to be their coach. Okay. So is that a high value activity? So I can't tell you how many people introduce people to each other. Nobody follows up. So Tom introduced me to Matt Wagner. Within a day, I had a call with him literally within 24 hours. I spent an hour with him. Boom. Okay. That would be top 25 to a connector that eventually leads to monetization. Doesn't lead to immediate monetization. It leads to monetization in the future. Think of all the volume we need. So let's look at what I'm doing. Got my hit list, new money. I got my farm club, nurturing. I got my red zone, people close to making a buying decision. I got my top 25 people I'm engaging with. Okay. And then I'm putting something on the calendar to invite people to in the future. So I just did a Pray Drive challenge, 5 days around my new book last week. It generated 200 leads, Tom. Okay. And it went so good. I told my team yesterday, I'm going to do one next week. I'm going to call it the GoPro Pray Drive Challenge, 5 days, day after Christmas. And my team was like, Coach, why are we doing this? I said, because I got a target of selling 10,000 copies of this book. And I guarantee you there's going to be, out of all the 25,000 people in my database, I guarantee you we can find 200 or 300 people to re-engage with. But out of those 200 or 300 people who show up, I think 16% of them are going to buy something from me. And that feeds this cycle. So I call that the showcase event. So people ask me, how do you recession-proof a business? This is what I do every day. I don't wait for a recession. I don't do it before recession. I go to bed tired and I wake up hungry. It all goes to zero at midnight. There comes a time when winter, that's what we did all spring and summer. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get to 25,000 every day. I wake up in the morning with this intention and I'm just boom, 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 boom. And I'm initiating and I'm following up. So Tom, tell me when so what happens to our topic today, this just becomes a way of life for me. I don't do it on some days and not other days. It literally becomes a way of life. It becomes my standard operating procedure. I call on new money. I nurture people in the pipeline. I try to close the red zone. I engage with my top clients to meet new people. Okay. And I plan something in the future to invite people to. And ultimately, this is how this year I'm going to get to 6 million in revenue, is doing this every single freaking day. Now, take off Christmas Day, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then I'll be right back at it the next day. Now, I was telling somebody last week, typically this time of year is a time of rejuvenation for me. So I typically have a week or two where I regroup, you know, but my book's coming out January 31st. So I told him, I said, man, it is what it is. It's coming out January 31st. I can't take a week or two off because I'm trying to hit this big goal with the book. So it just is what it is, right? So that's the way I look at it, Tom. So where is the missing structure for many people in your opinion, Tom?
Well, I love the fact that it's a percentage game, and we need to just have more conversations with more people. And so I ask myself, why aren't more people having more conversations? I mean, every single day we have dialing for dollars is from 10 to noon Pacific, and we're getting like 8 to 10 people out of 800 people in our organization. Only a few people show up. So I constantly ask myself that. And I think there's probably two reasons. Number one is people don't know who to call. And then number two, they don't know what to say. But why do you feel that more people don't show up and suck it up and buck it up, make things happen?
Well, I think I did this big training yesterday with Jay Kinder and Al Stasic on follow-up. And it occurs to me that some people don't know how to follow up. It's some people are lazy. Some people just don't know how to do it. They're literally ignorant to the concept of why we need to follow up like we do. And so it's like practicing when I'm a sports guy. We practiced every day. We played 2 times a week. And it was common for me, Tom, to be on the day after Christmas to go to a trip somewhere with my team and be gone for 5 days the day after Christmas every year for a decade. Thanksgiving, we're always playing in a tournament. Thanksgiving weekend, it was very common for me to be practicing either on Thanksgiving Day or on Christmas Day to get ready to go somewhere. So it became a way of life for me. No different than, you know, people in the military, it becomes a way of life to them. They get up at this time, they train, they do these things. And then what happens in the business world is we kind of just get away from these things. We don't get in there and dial for dollars. We find something else to do because it's easier. And if you really want to make some money and you really want to help a lot of people, there has to be kind of every day these norms and mores that you commit to. It's just what you do. Right? Like I assume Tiger Woods gets up and practices golf every day. That's what he does, right? That's who he is. So I think the top real estate agents don't develop these habits. And then when times get tough, they're like, oh man, who do I call? What do I do? There's nobody's buying any houses. I'm in trouble. No, there's 7 billion people on planet Earth. There's a heck of a lot of people out in California. And if there are people buying and selling, you just have to keep going through large numbers of people to find them, and you're going to lose some and you're going to win some, but it becomes a habit. And that's really what the top pros do. That's what I see.
Absolutely. And another thing for me is I learned what makes me move forward. And to be honest with you, it's fear-based. I mean, I have a fear of loss. I don't want to lose what I have right now. So I have a fear. So that drives me. That's my because goal. That's what keeps me moving forward. And so what I've done is I've set up a system to succeed. And a lot of it for me, I've identified who are my red zone, who are my big whales to call, my farm club, and then just doing it over and over and over. Consistently. You don't have to be great. You just have to be consistent. And for me, what works best for me is to have an accountability partner. I've got 2 accountability partners. Every morning we text each other. Every night we text. And if we don't do what we need to do, it's 20 burpees. And I hate burpees.
I hate burpees too. Oh, me. Now, when you're thinking about it, that's I like that because there's a consequence. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, I think it was Al Stasic, and he was talking about when you get to a certain level, it actually becomes fun. Competing becomes fun. Okay. When you get to a certain lifestyle, competing becomes fun, right? It doesn't become this tax, emotional tax on you, but it actually, you love the sport. And the sport is getting, it's kind of like Tom likes going out there and skiing. And, you know, it's like it becomes fun to you. And I think that's kind of how I look at it, is business is sport. I'm trying to get to a target every day. It's fun. If I can keep it like that, it's light. So it's not heavy when I'm selling people. It's not taxing or stressful on me. It's all I'm trying to do is help you move from A to B in your life. And I'm playing the long game. I'm not playing the immediate, somebody's doing something right now. I got to make a sale right now. It's like I'm just talking and engaging and following up. And there's a rhythm and a cycle to this, right? And it's fun to accomplish your goals. But the real prey drive is the pursuit.
And Coach, I mean, you run with the best of the best, you know, Cardone, Robbins, the best of the best. These are big players. Yep. And Coach has his private jet. He flies to provide events. And so when you're connecting with these big people, what do you see are common with the big players? I mean, the top 1%. What are some of the traits and the characteristics of those?
Well, if you look at the top 5 habits, they all have remarkable boldness. They're all great at connecting. They're really great at connecting to people. They have big intrinsic motivation, big because goals, to be the best. They have the ability to lock in and see something through to its conclusion. And they have a grit and resilience about them. Okay. Now, different ones have different, you know, they're better at certain things, but they all have a discipline about them. And they see themselves. It's interesting because their identity, they see themselves as the best. You know, I study a lot of psychology, and the greats develop a concept of themselves that can't be broken by other people. It's typically developed early in life. They begin to believe they're going to do something big in the world. They begin to believe that they are on a mission, and other people can't break that concept. Economies can't break it. External factors can't break it. Other people's opinion of them can't break it. And so they've kind of developed this concept that I will win. I will find a way to win no matter what, no matter what's going on in the world. And I think when I look at my top mortgage originators right now, they may be off 30%, but they're still doing 100 million, 150 million. Off 30%, they're doing 150 million. I mean, one of my top guys is off 30%. He's still doing 10 million a month. I mean, that's 120 million. It still means he's going to make $1.2 million in annualized out in a year in this economy. So it's like, how does he do that? Right. Well, he does it by increasing his actions. He doesn't freeze and he doesn't flee. He actually expands during these periods. In the new book, I have a whole chapter called Pretenders versus Contenders. And a pretender is not a fake. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the pretenders really haven't made the crucial decision to go pro. So they don't make the pro money. They don't back it up with pro decisions. They don't back it up with pro actions. They really kind of live in a world of amateurs. There are people that work at EXP that are making $200,000 to $400,000, $500,000 a month in income. Okay. So if they can do it, is it possible for you to do it? And the answer is yes, it is possible. And they don't have anything you don't have. Maybe they're more bold. They're bolder than you are. Maybe they have more intrinsic motivation than you do. Maybe they have developed a concept of themselves, something, but they started as regular real estate agents, just out there in the world, selling houses, just like you. Okay. Just like Cardone started as a car salesman and then sold cars and then coached car salespeople. I mean, you know, so when I look at these guys, I go, man, if that dude can do it, I can do it. I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. Now, how do I get there? Right. And that's a question that I stay up at night thinking about, just to be honest with you. So Tom, let me say one more thing. How do you know? People always ask me, how do you know when you made it? I think there's indicators. The reason I'm so adamant about the book being a Wall Street Journal bestseller is because it's just one more marker. You know, when you're climbing a mountain, there's rises and you're trying to get up to the summit, when you get to a rise, you can see more than you could before. You're not at the summit, but you're at a rise. And in the world, there's certain credibility indicators. Okay, it's not just an author. He's a Wall Street Journal best-selling author. He's not just this, he's this. He's not just done this, he's done this. And it's just sport, man. It's just a game there. So I put the link to purchase the new book or pre-order the new book if you haven't done that yet. And let me tell you why. I really want to make it sweet for you to do that. I want to show people that a former high school basketball coach that retired with no more than $7,500 in his bank account, that came from a small town of less than 2,500. I want to show you that you can go do something. And I want you to see me do it, which is what you've been seeing me to do over the last 2 months, is push. I think we've moved about 4,000 units of that book, Tom, which is not easy. A lot of people think it's easy, but it ain't as easy as you think it is. Okay. And I would encourage you, if you really want to do it, try to go sell 4,000 copies of a book before the book comes out and see how hard it is. But every book matters. And 3,500 gets you in the ball game for a Wall Street Journal bestseller. 3,500 books sold. So we've already passed over that, but every individual unit really matters. 10,000 units can get you at the top. And there's no guarantees, by the way. I could hit 10,000 units and still not be number one. Okay. Ed Milet sold 35,000 copies the first day this book came out, and he didn't even get in the top 10 on the New York Times. He's still not been on the top 10. He's still not even been on the New York Times list. And he's probably sold 50,000 copies of that book. So that tells you how political some of the things are. But you can hit the Wall Street Journal by a certain number of copies sold.
So as we wrap up, if you could share one chapter in your book, and I think it's something like why goals suck, or no?
Screw your why.
What's it? Screw your why?
Chapter 3.
Screw your why. I love it.
Everybody says you got to find your why to do something big. Okay. And here's what I would tell you. I can know my purpose and still not be motivated to go into battle today. Many of the top people I coach do not know their why. It's just who they are. They're just stone cold killers, man. They just have a desire to win. So in the book, I have this chapter called Screw Your Why, WHY, because everybody says you got to find your why. And I make this argument that I don't think you find your why and then do something big. I actually think your purpose finds you when you're actually pursuing something you are motivated and fascinated by. Okay. And that's really what the chapter is. It's how to let your purpose find you versus you find it. And then I go, Tom, into because goals, because I like because goals better than find your why. A because goal is a big reason I do something when I don't feel like it, because I committed to it, because I grew up poor, because I want to be an influence to my kids, because I want to be the best. I like because goals better than find your why. That's just me. Okay. So I'm not right. I'm not saying right or wrong, but although, Tom, I do think my next book could be Screw Your Why after this one. I could see me on Good Morning America talking about that one.
Well, awesome. Hey, well, thanks so much for jumping on here, Coach. I appreciate you. Love you. We've got Dialing for Dollars coming up at 9:45. Jump on, have those conversations, connect with those people. So before we leave, Coach, do you have one more nugget for us before we go?
Just keep fighting, man. You drive down the probability of winning when you freeze or you flee. So just stay in the game and keep fighting every day. That's the nugget.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Keep going. Thanks, Coach. Okay, everyone. Hey, there's no Freedom Friday this week, but we're back on it next week. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you in Dialing for Dollars. I love you. See you soon. Thanks. Have a good day.